I'm here in Israel in search for the Knights Templar. These guys were stuff of legend. So is their gold.
During the Crusades, these warrior monks battled for God, gold, and glory. Somewhere here in the modern city of Accra lies their command center and possibly their treasure. I'm here to find them. My name is Albert Lin, and I look at the world in a unique way. I use 21st century technologies to look back into our past.
Check that out, I can actually fly through the secret ancient world.
Lasers that scan deserts, strip away dense jungle canopy, and scour the oceans to uncover the hidden worlds beneath.
We're wading into uncharted waters.
That's what a real lost city looks like! New discoveries in the most awe-inspiring places on Earth.
That's where pixels become reality.
That fill the gaps in our story. Who we are, where we came from, and the wonders we can achieve.
Here we are in the 13th century.
This is carved out of the earth, huh?
This is the new golden age of exploration.
We know their secrets.
The Middle East, modern-day Israel.
The Mediterranean city of Accra was once one of the centers of the Christian world and the gateway between Europe and Asia. It's really the first port of entry for European pilgrims, for merchants, from every point on the compass.
800 years ago, the maze of streets in this port city would have been packed with the faithful on pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Many were wealthy, far from home, and in need of protection. Security was provided by a powerful band of devout but deadly monks, the Knights Templar. I'm here to track down their command center, and maybe their gold. It's the stuff of my childhood dreams. The first step is to figure out which part of the city the Templars ruled. I'm starting here, at the Church of St. Andrew.
You know, there's so many stories and places associated with the Templars. Ideas like how they might have possessed earth-shattering sacred secrets. That's taken the Templars to a weird place, somewhere between history and legend. Eliezer?
Yes.
So nice to meet you.
Welcome, welcome.
This is beautiful. This is where the
Yes.
Templars actually hung out, in here?
No, no, no. This is not the Templar. We are in the right place, but in the wrong time. Let's go. If we want to see the Templar building, we have to go down beneath this church.
Here? This is it?
Yeah, under this door, we are going to see another world.
This is like out of a movie right now. Are you kidding me? We're gonna go into a secret door behind a junk shop? Wow.
Let's go.
What? Wow. This is incredible.
Now we are in the right time, in the right place. Here we are in the 12th and 13th century. This is underground buried crypt. This is really where the Templar was 800 years ago.
So creepy. I'm standing in a room that ancient medieval knights, the Knights Templar, hung out in.
Yes, they live here more than 200 years.
Bet they never thought it'd be a bionic foot on their floor.
This is the first floor of the building, but in the 13th century, the Crusader church was above us.
So we were just standing a few moments ago in another church, right above me.
Mm-hmm.
So there's church upon church.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy because when you stand down here, it doesn't look all that different from the church upstairs in terms of style.
The arches and everything, yes. But if you are looking carefully, the Templar masonry work, it's completely another architecture. Wow. The stones are much bigger than the 19th century building.
Look at that.
It's very famous in the Crusader period that a lot of stones as the masonry marks. So you see
maybe
this
here,
line.
this one.
Oh, yes, exactly, this one.
So this is actually the mark of somebody's chisel.
Mm-hmm. From the Templar.
This is so cool.
When you find something that you can connect to the people that actually built this building, this is what's so exciting for me.
Because you actually get to the person.
Yes, exactly.
Further below the modern city, about 10 feet beneath the crypt, are more vaults.
Secret chambers, medieval knights, crypt. Nuts.
We've established that this was a Templar building, but I don't know what it was used for.
Wow. This is carved out of the earth, huh? Hello! What is this?
This is for collecting rainwater. It's a huge underground water tank.
You can actually see the little channel where the water pours in from the rain, right there.
The Holy Land is very, very warm. We are in the Middle East and you need the water.
Eliezer has excavated 3 of these 25,000-gallon tanks so far, and he believes there are many more.
Wow.
Another one.
Were these kept secret, these reservoirs?
Yes, of course, because it's under the ground, so the enemy cannot find it very easily. And you have to remember that this is a military order, and they are surrounded by enemy.
So they can be holed up in their quarters for as much time as they need, as long as they have water.
Right.
That's smart. This is an ingenious engineering feat.
As a strategic water depot, this must have been part of the Templars' area of control in the medieval city. The crypt makes a good base for my field lab. I'll map the existing Templar locations, and then maybe I can work my way to where their command center could have been. The ancient crypt I'm in, it lies here in the southwest of modern Accra. Next stop, a Templar location that has been excavated. It's 150 yards away, beside the harbor.
Here we go this way now.
In here?
Through this passage.
10 feet below the streets is a tunnel.
Wow. This is incredible. Whoa, it goes super far in there, huh?
We're really at the lowest level of the city. The Templars, because they had a lot of money, they wanted a secret passageway for security to go from the port to their water. And the Templars had a lot of gold they collected from the pilgrims.
Wait, so you're telling me that the Templar gold moved through these ancient tunnels?
Yes, it's safe to say that this is the case.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's incredible. We know their secrets.
No secrets can be kept from the archaeologists.
It goes on a long way.
Indeed it does. We excavated it for 270 meters.
So that's like roughly 900 feet of excavated tunnel.
Yeah.
What is this?
You see this big opening?
See there?
Yeah. What you see here is the guard room. And the guards sat here and controlled the passage. And you can see the holes in the stone where the metal gate was, and they could put it down to shut and completely close the passage like you would see in a medieval castle.
That's so cool.
You can imagine.
So what's above us right now? Where are we in the city?
Here you see the lower part of the street above us.
But where in the city are we? Is there a feature above us right now that you know is there?
I cannot tell you exactly.
We know the secret tunnel carried gold at least as far as the guardhouse. And that's gotta be close to where the Templars ran their operation. GPS does not work underground, so I'm using a LiDAR scanner to record the location of the guardhouse.
This is like a laser rangefinder, like the kind of thing you'd use to design the inside of a house or to figure out where you have to hit your golf ball on a golf course, but shooting a huge amount of laser pulses. All those little points add together in a 3D map. And what's really cool is that I've got a team upstairs right now on the surface in today's modern Accra, mapping the surface using drones and the same technology.
All this will make a 3D map of the city, above and below. Then we can see if the secret tunnels and the guardhouse will lead us into the Templars' zone of control.
Now I have a landmark underground. So once we connect this to the map from above, the positioning should tell me exactly where the Templar quarter begins on the streets above.
We're getting close to identifying the exact area the Knights Templar controlled in Accra. And it's thanks to 3D laser scanning.
I've combined both scans, above ground and below. And by combining the two, I gain superpowers. Check that out, I can actually fly through both worlds now. Today's world, and then the secret ancient world. Okay, now I'm gonna go beneath the streets of Accra. Look at this. Descending down, descending down. There it is. Look at that. The subsurface. And I'm following my below ground tunnel scan.
3D map is a GPS for navigating above and below ground. If we can find the guardhouse, we will know exactly where the Templar quarter begins.
Oh, yeah. According to this, the guardhouse should be that way. Beneath me right now is the tunnel, moving its way up this alleyway. Feels like I'm on a treasure hunt. Okay, this has to be it. I think I'm actually standing on it now. Check this out. Ready? Wow, look at that. You can actually make out where the secret tunnel sits, right below the surface here. It's a window into the streets.
Look at that, that's the guardhouse right there, you can tell, because it's got the little tube that I climbed into and scanned. And so this point marks the edge of the Templar quarter. I can see it.
This is the first time anyone has identified exactly where the guardhouse lies under modern Accra. Following the tunnel scan has given me a key landmark. The guardhouse. It looks like the Templar zone begins here and then runs west. Gold would have passed through the guardhouse under these streets, and gold is the key to the Templars' power and prestige.
I'm headed to Jerusalem to check out one of the world's largest hoards of Crusader Gold. It's from a priest who was with the first Crusader army to arrive in Jerusalem in 1099. It says, those who had few coins there, here, possessed countless pesants. Pesants, that's gold coins. So the priest is basically saying that the Crusaders from Europe, well, they got rich out here in the Holy Lands.
This vault houses the world's greatest Crusader coin collection. Dr. Robert Kuhl has allowed me access on one condition, that I don't reveal exactly where I am.
We, in our collection here, have one of the largest gold hoards that dates to the Crusader period.
This is 4.02 grams.
Yeah, exactly. Pure gold, 24-karat gold. You don't find that kind of gold anymore nowadays.
And then how many coins are in this tray?
We found 108 coins.
Wow.
If you combine the gold and the archaeological value, this rare find is worth around $500,000 American dollars.
If you were a Templar, you had to give all your possessions to the order. All this money was for the defense of the Holy Land. By necessity, the Templars became very, very rich. There were no banks, of course, in the modern sense, so people used to deposit their coins in these pots. And if the enemy came close, you would bury it. And this is exactly what happened with this pot.
So this was buried by Crusader hands when they were under attack?
Yes. It was found in a 13th century castle. That is the only reason that I know that this hoard belonged to the Crusader period.
Because it was found in a Crusader castle, buried under the floorboards.
Exactly. It's a pretty dramatic story.
In 1265, Arsuf Castle is invaded by Muslim forces called Mamluk. Fleeing Crusaders buried their gold, including the very coins Dr. Kuhl is showing me. Some desperate souls take extreme measures to smuggle out their fortunes.
People would swallow their gold to hide it.
Yes, yes. Written sources are full of stories of people hacked to death just because the enemy wants to see if they have gold in their bowels.
You're kidding me.
No, that was common practice in the Middle Ages.
They would open their bodies just to be able to see
Yes,
them. You're
yes.
kidding me.
So the person that buried this gold probably thought that he was going to come back. Well, as they came out of the castle, they were captured. But the Mamluks didn't find this gold. We found the gold. Going to war, even in the Middle Ages, was enormously expensive. Probably the largest Templar castle in this area, the castle of Safed. Just for building it, they had to spend 1.5 million gold coins. And if you think that at the height of their expansion, the Templars had, I think, something like 58 castles here in,
Wow.
And they had hundreds of castles in Europe.
Does that mean that there's more hoards like this speckled throughout the land, hidden away under the floorboards?
Possibly, of course. I mean, gold is rare, but we constantly find hoards.
In addition to the gold hastily hidden at Arsuf, all across the Holy Land, archaeologists have dug up coins concealed within 53 Crusader strongholds. Now, we know what to look for. The Templars' command center in Accra was most likely an impressive fortress with a massive vault to protect the Order's gold. I'm zeroing in on the Knights Templar's lost stronghold in the Holy Lands. Knowing that it's likely a fortress, I've done some digging, and I've come up with a journal from a 13th century writer, the Templar of Tyre.
It's his first-hand eyewitness account of Crusader Accra when it was Crusader Accra. I mean, how cool is that? And it describes a Templar fortress, the strongest place in the city. It had at its entry a tall, strong tower, and on each corner of the tower was a huge gold lion. And also another very old tower on the sea in which the Templars kept their treasure. So by the sea, there's a fortress and a treasure tower. Now, I know I'm in the Templar Quarter, and there's only one way to the sea, that direction.
West. That backs up what my 3D map indicated.
It's not what I was expecting. It's a lagoon. But you see these rocks in the line right out there? It's hard to make out in the breaking waves, but there's something there. I want to take a closer look, but I think I'm going to need some help.
Marine archaeologist Ehud Galili has spent half a lifetime scouring the seabed around Accra. He's discovered a Crusader shipwreck, complete with its anchor, and something else.
We were diving in the harbor. The water is dirty and murky. We were expecting to find broken pottery and things like this, and suddenly we start to find gold coins. So this is amazing.
Investigations confirm this handful of gold florins was minted in the 13th century during the reign of the Templars.
Some finds are very exciting when you find them. It is not only the gold, you know, it's the gold and the story and the whole presence of the Christian world in the Holy Lands. So it's an important piece of history, an important archaeological find.
Ehud's gold coins were found here, in the entrance to the harbor, where ships moored to unload pilgrims and cargo. Ehud believes his find may be part of a bigger lost hoard, just waiting to be discovered. If there is gold here, the fortress could be near too.
Down here, huh?
Don't worry, be happy.
Ehud's knowledge of marine archaeology and the Crusader era make him the perfect guide.
It's okay, come.
All right.
Trust me on that.
Your average walk on the beach.
The route is precarious, but Ehud insists it will be worth it.
All right.
Welcome. Shall we start going?
Let's do it. at this. It's so clearly man-made.
This is a section of foundation of a wall.
This is a completely unique line.
You can see that it is laid on the bedrock. It is made of ashlar stones. We can see sections of the wall over there, and most of it was ruined.
These man-made Asher stones are cut and dressed rocks, shaped at a quarry, just like I saw in the crypt.
How do we know that it is Crusader? Because we see here the holes. There were iron clamps coming from here to hold it like this, and so on and so on.
It's kind of like a sewn patchwork of stone.
Yes.
And this is the signature Crusader buildings?
This is a cultural marker because this is how they built. The iron clamps is the fingerprint of the Crusader.
So what would have stood here in the time of the Crusaders?
The Crusader, all this area was Crusader seawall. You can see here a corner of the wall. You see that it is man-made, and you can still see the ashlars. And here you see the iron bars, typical Crusader building. Now this was a clamp. It was like this to connect the next stone. So you can see this is clear evidence.
That's very specific, huh?
Yeah, of course, yes. There are some scholars who claim that some ruins are still left there that may be associated with the foundation of the Templar Fortress.
Wow, amazing.
How much would you pay to go back 800 years ago just to see it?
At least one treasure chest of Templar gold.
As an archaeologist, I am willing to give you years of my life just to go and see it.
This is the stuff of childhood dreams, right? To find these fingerprints of the Templar building design, it's pretty awesome. You know, somewhere hidden just beneath the surface of this lagoon is the echoes of this ancient Templar fortress.
The foundations in the lagoon have never been mapped in detail.
Yeah, but let's do like a zigzag pattern across here, you see?
The drone will fly a grid pattern, scanning as it goes. The resulting model will be accurate to a 1/16 of an inch.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I'm hoping that this will prove that these stones are not just seawalls, but the foundations of the Templar Fortress itself. The foundation rocks in the lagoon at Accra have been scanned. We're hoping the data will confirm that the Templar Fortress once stood here.
I just got the data now from the drone that scanned the entire lagoon. And what that allows me to do here is by laying that on top of reality, I can enhance the view of all the different rocks that Ehud had showed me.
The scan records the precise coordinates of the remains, creating a 3D digital survey. This is the first time such detailed scans of the lagoon foundations have ever been made. But data needs to be interpreted, so I'm back in the field lab.
Using the traces of the foundation that I just scanned, you see these? Boom, boom, boom. I can actually begin to connect the dots. Like that. Now I've got my seawall. And this Templar church crypt, which is right here, that would have been just on the outside of the fortress wall that would have faced the city. So something like this. And according to the description from the Templar of Tyre, there were 2 towers, one at each corner. Now we know from the archaeologists that today's Accra was built on top of the old city, layer upon layer, and that there would have been overlapping features. So the place that would have made the most sense is where there's existing material, like where this lighthouse now stands, right here. And also over here, where this collapsed sea defense exists, right here. So with all these pieces, I'm beginning to get a first pass at how and where this long-lost fortress might have stood.
But if the Templar of Tyre was right, and the fortress did guard a treasure tower, the data does not reveal where.
There's another Crusader fortress just 50 miles east of here, and it's still standing. Maybe it'll shed some more light on this.
Deep in the heart of the Holy Land is the site of Israel's best preserved Crusader fortress.
This land was once all Crusader occupied. They called it the Kingdom of Jerusalem. For the 200 years of the Crusaders, their boundaries, it just kept on shifting as cities and fortresses fell, as the armies of the Middle East and the Christians of Europe battled each other.
A Crusader's citadel still overlooks the Jordan Valley. Belvoir Fortress. Its ingenious design was crucial to the Crusaders' survival. The man with the keys is Dr. Rabbi Hamasi.
Rabbi.
Hi.
Hey, thanks for meeting me.
Welcome.
What I'm trying to do is piece together the different elements of this Crusader castle to try to understand what that fortress might have looked like in Accra.
This is one of the most impressive Crusader castles of the 12th century.
Wow, look at this. That's massive. You and I are now standing on the grounds in which an enemy would have looked at the castle from.
Yeah.
They are attacking.
Yeah.
What would be going on?
They will deal with something huge, walls which are few meters thick. Above this, there were at least another 2 floors, probably another 14, 15 meters high.
Psychological impact of seeing that and thinking that I'm supposed to take this down?
It's a big obstacle, and it's not by a chance that it held for such long period under siege.
While there's nothing there standing in Accra anymore, I can start to imagine how it would have looked.
These outer fortress walls give me a sense of scale for Accra. But the key is the inner fortress, where the treasure would have been held.
It's confusing me. I don't even know where we're going now.
If I can get in there. To discover how Crusaders like the Knights Templar protected their treasure, I've come to Belvoir Fortress in northeastern Israel.
Here you are entering the main gate.
Okay, I'm here. I'm ready to fight. And then what happens?
You have to turn again.
Where?
It's a real maze.
There?
So, yeah, there, or maybe here or here.
That's intense.
This is one of the most sophisticated things that the Crusaders used to prevent the enemy from storming the castle. Every time you are turning, the garrison inside have more time to defend itself. It's confusing the enemy because you don't know where you are going. So
it's confusing me. I don't even know where we're going now.
yeah, exactly.
Where are we here now?
Yeah. So we have the double castles. This is the inner one.
Double castles?
Yeah, we are exactly in the center of the inner castle.
How many layers were there? It's like an onion, kind of.
You have the moat, it's the first line of defense. Then you have the outer walls of the outer castle, which is the biggest one. And then you have the inner castle. It's 2 castles, one inside the other, functioning together. But if the outer castle fell to the enemy, the inner one can function alone.
Now that's some good engineering.
Yeah. That's really, really sophisticated.
being here, you kind of get in the heads of the designers of the Crusader era. It's not to look pretty, it's designed as a functioning system. Whereas you're running in as an enemy, you're being forced through all these different channels to have the longest possible route.
Yeah.
And all while you're running through here, you're being attacked by defending arrows.
All the time.
So it was designed for confusion, it was designed for fear, to create defense, to create all these different sort of scenarios that you could keep the place safe.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
In 1187, Belvoir withstood a terrible siege. The towering walls and the vast underground water tanks sustained the Crusaders inside for 1.5 years. Ultimately, they were forced to surrender. Muslim leader Saladin spared their lives. The fortress was prize enough.
Here, I've seen the elements of a typical Crusader stronghold. They were designed to keep attackers out, but also keep gold in. As the Crusaders moved their fortunes around Europe and the Holy Lands, they became bankers. And these places, they were like ancient ATMs, but protected like Fort Knox. I've got enough data now to reconstruct the features of the Templar Fortress. Now, working with the Crusader experts, this is how the footprints turned out. We're getting close now. Having gone to Belvoir, I understand the defensive structures to protect the Crusaders, but also their gold. Right here in Accra, I located where I think their treasure tower should have stood.
Just like at Belvoir, at its heart, where it's most heavily protected. This is where technology helps us.
Okay, so see this yellow line? That's a scan I did inside the secret Templar tunnels. And Edna's excavation of those tunnels ends here. We know the tunnel went further. And if I just continue the logical trajectory of the tunnel, I can complete it. Boom. Right there. Look at that, right in the middle of the west wall, facing the sea. Just like the description of the Templar of Tyre.
What could that treasure tower have looked like? By digitally rebuilding the Templar Fortress in Accra, we will finally be able to see for ourselves. I've returned to the site of the Knights Templar's coastal headquarters, and I finally have enough evidence to resurrect their great fortress.
Okay, I've combined together all the elements. The description from the Templar of Tyre, the map of the footprint here that we've waded out into the lagoon to try to find, the observations from Belvoir. And by adding all those together, we get this. Wow, look at that right there. Towering right above us here would have been a Templar fortress.
We've built an app that displays the outline over the parking lot that stands here now. It's augmented reality. As I turn, my perspective changes, as if the fortress were really here.
It's the first time I'm seeing this. The reconstruction of what might have stood here 800 years ago. It's the stuff of fairy tales, and it's all right here, like a ghost.
But the full magnificence of Accra's fortress was reserved for those approaching by sea. mighty sea defenses and lookout towers stood against any invader. While the Templars' hidden tunnels snaked beneath the streets, secretly transporting gold to the fortress's crowning glory, the fabled treasure tower. Inside the Templar stronghold would have been a maze of walls, halls, and grand chambers. Giant carved stones marked by masons proud of their craftsmanship. Great Gothic vaults would have arched above epic interiors, a monument to their holy war. Their fortress was the colossal wealth and power of the Templars, manifested in stone. They must have thought it would last forever.
The Templars' fortress and its treasure tower dominated this place for roughly a century. They didn't last. In 1291, the Mamelukes besieged the city, collapsing the mighty fortress walls. That was the fall of Accra, the last Crusader outpost in the Holy Land. For the Templars, it was the beginning of the end. So you remember the Templar attire? He wrote another eyewitness account of the exact moment in which the Mamelukes took down this city. Known fair lords that no one could adequately recount the tears and grief of that day. The pitiful sight of the little children tumbled about and disemboweled. There's no man in the world who has so very hard a heart that he would not have wept to see that slaughter. Even some of the Mamelukes had pity on these victims and wept. Well, I kind of see it now. You know, the Templars that made it out, they fled in haste. Out through the tunnels, maybe, to the port, and then out through the harbor. Unlike the Crusaders at Assur, who tried to hide their gold, these guys, they tried to smuggle it out. Maybe that's why there's never been any gold found in the fortress. Yeah, the Templars. In that moment, they lost everything. Except perhaps their fortune. Remember those medieval coins that Ehud found right here in the harbor? Well, maybe they point in the direction that the Templars' fortune went. Out there.